Army of Two, not quite what I expected. Okay, I'll get straight to it. This game was indeed the biggest disappointment for me for 2008. A while back, a friend and I took on Gears of War System Link co-op style. This was some of the most fun I've ever had with a video game in a long time. After beating Gears of War this way, I started hunting like a wild animal looking for my next prey. I tried out games like Brawl, but this didn't exactly cut it for me because for some silly reason in System Link campaign mode you can't play through the missions like you would in single player. Instead, you're given the option to select whichever you want, and you also don't get the cinematic opening scenes like in single player, so it just feels wrong. And on top of that, you can't utilize the cover system in co-op. This sent my enthusiasm through the floor. But I kept on looking. Kane and Lynch, another game one might think would have System Link co-op, but no. So then I remembered, yeah, EA created this game called Army of Two, and everything I've read on this game suggests co-op as the game's main feature. So yes, if Gears of War didn't boast and emphasize its co-op feature as being the heart and soul of the game but still offered the feature in a way next to gaming perfection, then a game like Army of Two must have System Link co-op. Again, no. The only way you can play co-op in this game is online, or the lamest way in the existence of gaming, split screen. Now, not even on the largest screen would I appreciate a split screen gaming session. It's too much of a distraction to play a game this way. And the bigger the screen only means the bigger the distraction. So right away, I lost respect for this title.
Is that so?
Anyway, Army of Two has you playing the role of two guys named Salem and Rios, who decided to stop being soldiers and start being mercenaries. I guess the pay is better. You and your teammate trod through 6 missions, blasting and swearing your way to the very end. The story is nothing to harp on. The meat of the game is the gameplay. You'll have very little time to pay attention to the story with all the action going on here. The graphics in Army of Two aren't at all impressive. While some areas in the game have a decent amount of detail, others lack terribly. Let me put it to you this way. Gears of War, which was made years ago, looks better than Army of Two. Some of the cutscenes look really good though, but not all of them. But mainly my concerns lie with the in-game graphics, which fail to impress. The graphics are kind of first-gen 360. It falls in the league of maybe a perfect Dark Zero, which was good then, but not now. The gun blasts and explosions are not at all awe-inspiring. They seem kind of dated actually. So does the music. Now the voice acting is good. I figure some decent work was done in this department, but it seems like EA thought that they could place more emphasis on the gimmicks and gameplay and nobody would notice the audio. Kinda like a decent action movie. Forget the story, focus on the fight scenes. Now let's get to the gameplay. Overhyped, that's the best way to describe it. I'm not saying it's bad, but it certainly isn't as good as it should be. Ripping off car doors and using them as shields for both you and your partner is good. You being able to sit up and shoot when disabled is also good. As a matter of fact, for that ability alone, the game goes up a notch for me. Because when you think about it, this should have been a feature in Gears of War. If you take too much damage in Army of Two, you'll fall to the ground. But while waiting for your partner to come over and revive you, you can still defend yourself. This is truly a cool feature. And on top of that, your partner doesn't have to try and revive you in the middle of a gunfight. He can pull you to safety and then revive you.
Didn't know you cared, Elliot.
Then you have a meter called the aggro meter. What this is a way to divert attention and enemy fire. The aggro meter swings 2 ways, each way representing one of the characters. When the meter goes red in your direction, all the enemies will focus on you, giving your teammate the chance to either recover, run for cover, or attack unexpectedly. What you can do to build your aggro meter is simple. Shoot a lot, and if you're both shooting, the man with the bigger gun will get the attention. To me, this aggrometer is nothing more than a gimmick. It's not at all realistic and takes the challenge down in an unnecessary way. What happens is, once one of you starts making more noise than the other, you become invisible and the enemy gets dumber. Why would an entire army or group of men who are firing on two people who are firing back stop shooting at one person altogether and turn their attention solely on the man with the bigger gun? At the end of the day, no matter how big your gun is, you're still just one man. And what about the other guy who is shooting? Did everybody just forget about him? It shouldn't be called the aggrometer. It should be called the moron meter.
Is that so?
There are other co-op style attacks and maneuvers you can use though, like co-op sniping, which again is just an unnecessary gimmick, as well as back-to-back shooting where everything goes in slow motion and you start unloading on a swarm of enemies. Why do I call these things gimmicks? Well, it's the way it's presented. You can't go back-to-back whenever you want to. It's only in select parts of the game.
Let's go back-to-back now!
Now to me, going back-to-back in an intense situation is a strategy. One I'd like to use when I see fit, not when EA programmers see fit. A maneuver like this should be used strategically at points in the game where the player feels he needs it, because sometimes when it happens it feels illogical. When a dozen terrorists attack with high-powered assault rifles, I might want to duck for cover and take them out from a sweet vantage point, not stand in the middle of the stage like some television action hero. Run and gun isn't for everybody. And then there are other things you can do co-op style, like swap weapons. Now let me break this down for you so you understand that I'm not hating on this game. These features, even the ones I call gimmicks, are good. And if you're playing this game with a friend online or System Link, if that option was available, then this game would be one of the greats. But it's either split screen or online. Now online has its ups and downs, but the biggest problem I found so far are the EA servers. I can never get connected to them, so online play isn't much of an option, and it's not my internet connection either. I did my research. EA servers are notorious for this problem. Back to the co-op features. Not only are some gimmicky, but some are just weird. Why do these two men have to be sharing the same parachute? Now, if you didn't agree with us on the whole unnecessary co-op stuff before, you have to back me on this one. Why one shoot? Come on. Now that's taking the whole co-op thing further than it needs to go. That's all I'm saying.
Is that so?
The aiming and melee system is also questionable. Not so much the melee, but definitely the aiming. If you don't use steady aim, you'll be missing a lot of targets, even ones 6 feet in front of you. Also, for replayability, well, if you're able to play it online, then yeah, the fun will never end. But in single player, I don't see the point. It's not that good a game to warrant a second run alone. You do have your computer controlled partner, but that still doesn't give enough reason. And of course, if you're one of those who don't mind split screen, then there's more joy for you right there. I don't know, maybe I'm just a spoiled gamer. After playing Gears of War and Halo 3 and even Perfect Dark